Shattering Stereotypes Through Iconic Soundtracks. The aim of this panel is to empower women in film by sharing experiences, challenges, and successes, and providing a platform for networking and mentorship. So I'll introduce our moderator, who's Zainab Balogun, actress, media personality. So Zainab is an award-winning actress, media personality, and producer known for her versatile presence across film and television. Born in London to Nigerian parents, she began her career as a model at age 16 before transitioning into acting and presenting. She co-founded the J-Ace TV and became a leading voice on Ebony Live's TV, The Spot. Before her media career, Zainab is a vocal advocate for women's health awareness and empowerment. Her performances in films like The Wedding Party and Sylvia showcase her strength in redefining African female narratives through nuanced storytelling and soundscapes. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Zainab Balogun.
Thank you.
So I'll let Zainab do the introduction of the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys feeling today? Good? I know it's early, but we're going to have a great session. Today is day 5 of AFRIFF 2025, and I'm super excited to be here today. We are talking about women in film, shattering stereotypes through iconic soundtracks. So in the spirit of that, I'd like you to turn to your neighbor and tell them what song describes your week. Yeah, what song describes your week this week? Like the experiences that you've had this week. What song? You know, I like the way you think. It could be any song. It doesn't have to be an African song. It could be an international song. Do you have a song? Who has a song? Who has a song? Do you have one? Okay, let's hear yours. Honestly, you're in the spirits. And I love it. Great things are coming your way. Does anyone else have a song? Let's hear it. Obianuju. So that's old school, Duncan Mighty. Okay, giving us some vibes. All right, anyone else? Let's take one more. Yes, go ahead. A round of applause. Great vibes. Okay, so let's start our panel. Today we are going to be talking about the women in film who are in front and back of camera who have been ensuring that storytelling is creative through not only through picture but through sounds and rhythms and creating beautiful expressions. So I have 2 panelists joining me today. I believe we're also going to have an additional joining us shortly, but please join me in welcoming my first amazing woman to the panel, and keep the claps coming until they both get here. So first up, we have the iconic Iniedo, who is an actress, filmmaker, and founder of Minimi Empire Productions. She just celebrated 20 years in the world of film. I think that deserves a huge round of applause. Not only is she a powerhouse, but she is someone who continues to use her voice for excellence in the world of film, supporting women and creating narratives that ensure that African culture is protected. And she's also a fashionista. Can we agree? Good to see you, Ini. So, now to my second panelist. Please join me in welcoming trailblazer Juliet Ibrahim, actress, producer, the president of Women in Film and Television Ghana, where she actively pushes across regional collaborations and building real pathways for women behind the camera. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. I'll start off by just throwing a quick general question to you guys before we get into the nitty-gritty. So, Ini, first up, What personal or professional moment made you realize the power of women's voices in shaping film culture?
I think for me, it's been, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and good morning, everybody. I started quite early, so I've always just figured that, especially when you're talking about soundtrack and music, people have identified me on the streets just by the soundtrack of a film that I was involved in, and perhaps how moving that music was, or how much of a story, or how powerful, or how much emotion that soundtrack carried. So I've had people accost me or talk to me about, look, just about the soundtrack, just about the music, and how it resonated with them as women. So I've always known that music plays a very important role in storytelling, especially coming from a woman's perspective. So yeah, I got that experience quite early in my career.
Amazing. And Juliet, same question to you.
Can you please repeat?
Okay, so what personal or professional moment made you realize the power of women's voices in shaping storytelling?
For me, good morning, everyone. I think I'm also doing 20 years in the industry too.
Congratulations!
This year. So I started off as an actor, and I think when I realized that it was important for me to have my own voice as a woman was when I realized that I didn't have so much to control as an actor, but being behind the scenes, I could take control of the narrative and the stories that I wanted to tell, especially as a female in a male-dominated industry. So I ventured into being a director and a film producer, so I can be able to tell the kind of stories that I wanted to tell for women and for men to be able to learn, and even children and society, you know, to actually focus on. So that was when I realized that there was so much power, because even now in the entire creative industry, women are taking leads in you know, various sectors, and I think it's about time. So I was just a young girl at the time who saw that vision that I needed to tell my story and other women around me stories through film. Yeah.
That's amazing. Let's get into the topic of soundtracking. As an executive in production, at what point in the process does music become part of the conversation? Is it during, let's say, the treatment, scripting? Do you sort of go based off of the entire story or focus more on character? When do you start sitting down and plotting that process for the soundtrack?
As a filmmaker, basically somebody who's very story driven in the kinds of stories that I like to tell, I'm very interested in the impact of the story and how it showcases women and how it represents women at large. I think it starts from the story curation. You begin to think about soundtrack from when you're thinking about the story, because sound, like I said, provides the mood, and the mood sets the tone for the film. So sometimes the direction of the soundtrack takes a totally, it kind of directs where the movie goes, it directs where the emotions are off and on. And so for me as a filmmaker, it starts from the get-go. As we're curating the story, we're beginning to factor in, okay, what energy would, you know, how would music amplify the story, and how would it sort of help tell the story that you're trying to tell at the end of the day. So I think it starts from the get-go, from story curation to even before you begin to think of casting.
It's extremely important to have like all of that figured out early on. Julia, as someone who has worked across several different cultures, you know, on the continent and also in the diaspora, I'd like to ask you whether or not you feel like Pan-African music has had the opportunity to sit firmly when it comes into soundtracking and making those choices, or are we still very much focused on the global sounds and global appeals? How do we protect our own African sounds through film?
Yeah, I'm actually happy that, especially when I saw Three Cold Dishes, because I think that's the direction that we need to go into. And we need, as Africans, we need to start seeing the importance of Afrobeats and, you know, the Amapiano and the likes that are out there. With Three Cold Dishes, like, we can see the importance of having music and film blended, you know, and it's a movement. For me, when I'm trying to even include soundtrack or any form of music into a film, I feel like it starts way from the pre-production, because you're talking about merchandise and you're talking about being able to create a full album that the film can still make money off, you know, in the long run and forever. Like, I mean, I was saying earlier on to Ini that look at How to Kill a Monkey, for instance. I was spotting the other day and they were playing the soundtrack when they were bringing the drinks. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know, so you want to leave a lasting impression on people when it comes to music and film. So you can watch a film and you can just feel so much emotions just by the sound score that was used. So we have to start seeing that we have so much in us in Africa. So as I've traveled all over the world, I realized that we don't really use so much of our Africanness. So that's why I'm so proud of what they're doing now with Burna Boy being on board as an EP of a film. We need more collaborations. We need more producers to see the importance in working with filmmakers. Like, I've been approached by a couple of musicians recently, like, oh, whenever you want to use a soundtrack of mine or like a song, a music from my album, let me know. That's the way to go. We have to start partnering and making stuff together, because they make money, I make money. And it's a win-win for all of us in Africa. Yeah.
You're so right about the power of music, because the first question I asked the room was for you guys to tell your neighbor a particular song or soundtrack that inspired your week. And the song you went for, that was Lion King, right? You know, there's nowhere in the world you'll be and you wouldn't be able to recognize that, nor would you, you know, not be able to be thrown back in time and those feelings coming back up, being at home, watching it. So yeah, music is extremely powerful and a tool that can benefit the storyline. Let's go through to some stereotypes. As women, and yes, I know we have men in the room, but this is a panel full of women, so excuse me. There are a lot of stereotypes through film over the years that we've witnessed, and media, film is such a powerful tool that influences. I'd like to ask you guys, Ini first, what stereotypes about women in film do you believe still need to be broken?
I think that part of the stereotype would be, when you talk about women in film, first of all, it feels like women are not expected to be in certain positions of filmmaking. I mean, that was the stereotype back in the day, but now we're breaking those stereotypes. You're finding women in, you know, in cinematography, in directing, in just doing literally everything that there is to do as far as filmmaking is concerned. I feel like with female in movies and what music is doing is basically, you know, some of the soundtracks that women are curating these days. I mean, if you listen to a song like Rihanna's "Lift Me Up" in Wakanda, you can see the energy that it carries, the fact that it doesn't make a woman feel like a victim. It energizes, it empowers, it emboldens. It's like a chant of war. It just it breaks that narrative of women being the weaker vessels, or like the ones who are the victims, basically. So it's just the power to be able to give women that same platform of being as powerful as any other, as the male gender, just as equal as, you know. So with music and with female in the music industry, and especially when you talk about that collaboration, it's so powerful, because like I'm doing a film that is, we're trying to release this December, and the lead character is also a female musician who happens to be handling the soundtrack as well. And, you know, just the fact that she is curating the music changes the whole dimension and the whole dynamics of the storytelling. It gives a lot of power, a lot of presence to the female lead character. And I feel like this way we can begin to just cancel the narrative of women being the weaker, being the victims, really, because when I talk about when I started in the industry and how people would call me and be like, oh, they will sing one sorrowful song, or be like, oh, every time they think about me, it's almost like they want to get teary because they feel that sense of oppression, that sense of being victimized, and with intentional music, intentional, energetic, or how would I call it, empowering music in movies can also be able to cancel that narrative of women being seen as victims in films.
Amazing. Julia, as the president of Women in Film and TV Ghana, I'm sure you come across a lot of young women now who are wanting to take positions behind the scenes. Tell me what that looks like in the scoring world. Are we getting more women sort of taking seat in that world? If not, how do we encourage them to realize that there is more than enough space for them?
Yeah, we actually have a lot more women that are actually stepping up now to take positions and want to. However, it's still a very dicey industry because I think the other day there was a viral video that was trending on social media here in Nigeria of a crew member, a female crew member that was being choked by a male, worker or director or something. Maybe she said something to him, he got upset and was choking her. Now, we tried with WIF Ghana, which is the first Ghanaian chapter of WIF LA, or like the international, over 200 plus chapters all over the world. We are trying to represent these women, create a safe working space for them, because it's the same thing. It's all over in Africa. Women go through these things. It's even all over the world, not just Africa, where they want to express themselves, but you find these women's work, like the women working late nights, in terrible conditions. Sometimes they're on the time of their month, and then somebody's like stressing them out. So it's really difficult, because I have some girls too who will be like, nah, I would love to, but I don't think I can go through all the stress that I get from the men on set, because you can find on the production set, out of 50 people, maybe just 3 females are there, and it's always inconveniencing. So I think with what we do, Women in Film and TV globally, is to try and encourage women to just be present. This is your talent, this is your creative, craft, this is what you have, your career. So find spaces like Women in Film Television organization in your country. There's one in Nigeria, there's Kenya, wherever. Join, become part of the members, the crew associations, directors association, producers, so you can have backing, actors association or guild. You can have a backing of people behind you that will fight for your rights in any way. Don't just enter the industry without having any clue. Most of them are always clueless. That's why the stereotype of, okay, they have to sleep their way to get a job comes in, because you don't even know how you're getting into the industry. You're just desperate to become somebody. So you have to do the right thing, learn, find the right people, talk to them, research, use your AI, Gemini, ChatGPT, find out people in your area that have NGOs, organizations that can support you, or the guilds in your local communities as well. Yeah.
I know that there are a lot of young people oftentimes who would rather not go down the route of joining a guild or a support group. But like you said, it's extremely important to have backing. What these platforms offer is not only a space where you can be inspired, but there's a lot of protection legally, mentally and emotionally, that can help you along your journey. Ini, my next question for you as an executive is, when it comes to scoring, what are the legalities that one needs to plan for? Like, how do we make sure we're covered legally with the artists? Also, in cases where maybe you want to take the soundtrack and you want to commercialize it, or create some sort of a revenue opportunity from it. What steps, what are the people that we need to have in those conversations?
First of all, you need a lawyer.
A good lawyer.
I think the first thing you need to do is to get a good lawyer and have that agreement from the get-go. What are you doing exactly? What is the intention? What would be the streams of income? What are your sharing? whatever formula, revenue sharing formula that is agreed upon, just even before you get into that whole arrangement. Also the other thing to look out for is sometimes these artists are already affiliated with one one studio or one management group or the other, whereby they already assigned to those organizations. You have to be able to get to the roots, speak to the people you need to speak to before you even get into that entanglement, because if you don't, then down the line you'll find out that all those clauses will come up, because there's hardly an artist who's just an artist on their own. They're all affiliated with one organization or the other, and they have their rules and they have just how they go about things. So it's a legal process. It takes just going through the right route and just doing the whole legal work. Like I have a whole legal team that handles all of that, because you find out that at the end of the day they'll still come and say, oh, you need to pay this, you need to pay I mean, people will come up with different things, and that's just because that's what the person has signed onto. So you need to already be aware of what it is that you're getting involved in, and if it works out, you have your conversations about your sharing formula and how the revenues will be shared, and yeah.
Amazing. Julia, my question for you is, for younger or new creators trying to enter the space, what is the best way to be seen? I know that we're all in this digital social media age, and oftentimes we're told that the more you put yourself out there, the more your people and opportunities are attracted to you. But is that the sole way, or is there more of a traditional way of doing things?
I think it's quite tricky because everything has changed over the years. Sometimes, well, nowadays, I even see people that actually put out negative content go more viral than people that put out positive. So I think it's just finding your niche, first of all. If you want to come out for whatever reason and be a content creator, a filmmaker, whatever it is that you're trying to do as a creative, you have to sit back, strategize, have a vision board. I always tell people vision boards are very important, because you have a plan, you have the goal, and then you have your ladder, the steps you want to take to get to that goal. So when you do that, you find the niche. What's lacking, or what's missing, or what's that thing, the unique thing that I bring to the table? What am I going to come with? So when you strategize based on that, and like I said earlier, AI has helped a lot of people, because all you have to do is put in a prompt, and then it gives you a whole brand strategy of what you should do. And you just go out there and start making your content. You start from somewhere. We have platforms like YouTube. There's so many free platforms that you can also start. Yes, it takes a lot of money, because you have to market, you have to push. If it's even like Facebook ads you're trying to run, you have to push yourself. If you want to go the route of, okay, I want to be negative, I want to cuss out a celebrity like Juliet Ibrahim, feel free. Maybe she will respond to you, you might blow. Who knows? People do that. But then, mind you, when you do that, are the right brands going to look at you as someone respectable? Are they going to see you as someone who has sense, or just another noise maker on social media? So you have to be very strategic in how you want to come out as a content creator, filmmaker, whatever it is. And like I said earlier, just try and also do your research. Go to the right organizations. They will easily show you the way when you do. Thank you.
Thank you. The next section is us going into a conversation about mentorship in film and women in general. So collaboration is one of the biggest accelerator in our industry, and we're seeing more women step into creative leadership and partnering together. But there's also a perception that women in African film don't often collaborate as openly as we should. From your position, Ini, how do you think, one, actually, do you agree with that statement? And two, how can we begin to foster better, long-lasting collaboration as women in film?
Personally, I believe in collaborations. I mean, it doesn't matter how many bad experiences we get to have. I still believe in the power of collaboration, because we all have strengths, we have different strengths, and when you come together in a creative space with different strengths, it would only give birth to something amazing. We can see what just happened recently with where 3 ladies came together to do Ginger. It's been an amazing success, and I feel like that's just because they threw their weight behind it. When I collaborated with a certain female, when we did Shantytown, it was a huge success as well. I believe in the power of collaboration, and I feel like as African creatives, it's a narrative we need to keep pushing, especially as females, because, two heads will always definitely be better than one, especially in the creative space, where your strength is in storytelling or is in execution. Some other person's strength is in perhaps marketing or is in perhaps, just coordinating the production itself. You would always have a stronger result if you get to do that. So I would always encourage the acts of collaborations. And I think as Africans, especially when you're talking about different African communities, for instance. Like, for instance, Juliet is a Ghanaian. Imagine that we wanted to do something between the Ghanaian culture and the Nigerian culture. That would be something very unique, and as female...
Are you speaking it into existence?
I do believe it, and I work towards it, and I go out there and I seek for collaborations. I'm presently trying to get collaboration with a South African female artist as well, because I do believe in that power. Because the diverse cultures, at the end of the day, it's one creative process. So I would just always encourage females to go into collaborations. And from my experiences, I think basically, like I said, it goes back to legal. It just goes back to doing things right, setting structures that would sustain the production or sustain the process, the creative process. Having the right team who see to the fact that things are the way that they're supposed to be. All the dots the T's are crossed and the I's, the dots, like everything that needs to be done is done. And I feel like where that happens, there's a huge likelihood that that project would be a success. And when women come together, it's only the kind of amazing things that happens. We cannot ever take that for granted.
That's right. When women come together, great things happen. Julia, what role has mentorship played in your career in breaking key barriers?
I've really never had a mentor myself. And then at some point when COVID hit, how many of us in here actually had like a whole setback and reset of their everything during COVID? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us, right? I was one of those people. I was just living. I started acting at a very young age. I think at the age of 18, thereabout. And all I knew my whole life was just go to set, film, go home, spend time with the family, go back to set. And everything just happened so fast in my life until COVID hit. Then I had the time to sit back and rethink, what exactly am I doing? Because now we're not filming anymore. And, money was going like far from me. I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen? How do I make myself relevant for a long term? So I start thinking legacy. I start thinking everything. Because a lot of people just do that. They just live in every day as it comes. And I'm so proud to say it because during that period in 2020, I decided to and I met this person through Clubhouse, because that was a big thing at the time, and it shifted my mindset and my thinking. And I'm sure everybody that has followed me over the years sees that, Juliet, you have grown. Like we're seeing a woman now that's emotionally aware, she's mature, she knows what she's about, she knows how she's now mentoring younger people. Because through discovering myself, I know that I can now lead people because I have been led. And as a true leader or a mentor, you need to be able to lead others. They have to see what you're about, know what you're about, then you can guide someone. I just even actually completed a life coach program. Yes, and it's difficult to be able to coach people and mentor people. So it's so important because I have a lot of young people that, girls and guys, that want to learn. They want to see, oh, how did you do it? How did you get to this point in your life? You're so like successful. They need guidance. They need mentorship. And it's so important that even in your workplace, even in your home, your little cousins, sometimes they're confused. They might not come to talk to you, but you need to be able to sit them down sometimes, mentor them. What do you want to do with life? What is it that you're thinking? What's confusing you? I know it's tough, this and that. So that's how mentorship starts. But it's so important for people to find mentors, but find the ones that align with your vision. Because some people, I saw something on the blog recently where they said China is now trying to make sure that everybody that talks about
Has a degree.
motivational stuff are going to be licensed. I was like, hallelujah, because everybody these days is a life coach, motivational speaker, or whatever, right? Yeah, so you have to actually check people before you sign up for a therapist or any coach or whatever. Check, do background research, make sure that they are licensed, because they can fool you. Or these people now, because of 2020, social media has become so crazy. Everybody is convincing you. So it's so important to have mentorship in everyone's career, in your life. It's so important. Yeah.
That's extremely good advice, and I do love the direction that China's going with ensuring that influencers that are speaking about serious topics have, I think they're supposed to have a degree or something like that, because there's just so much misinformation out there. And with that in mind, my question to you, Ini, is in this world where there's just so much and it's easy to be consumed, it's easy to get.
Fortunately, I would say when we started, we weren't exposed to this level of distractions. So it would be, it was such a tight situation that you had to really be sure of what you wanted. And it was quite difficult. I mean, I think that with the emergence of social media now, people just, it's easy to pick careers and become successful out of it. That wasn't the case when we started, because all we had was just work. All you needed to do was work. And even getting the opportunity to work wasn't easy at all. You were just one out of 1,000,000 or 1,000 people, 1,000 young, beautiful, talented, perhaps even more talented than you were at the time. So just how to stand out when you get the opportunity was the challenge. So I think I think that it always starts with a passion, identifying what it is that you really want, understanding why do you want that thing. Is it because you want to be like the other person, or is it because you're really passionate about that? That motive, when you have that motive as a driving force, first of all, it helps you to go through all of the challenges, all of the setbacks, all of the difficulties that may kind of like discourage you, or things that would scare you back home, like, what, this is too much, I cannot do this. When your passion is right, and then and then you stay focused, which I'm just speaking for myself, that was the strategy that I used. And I'm so passionate about it's all I wanted to do. So I stayed the cause, and God helped me. A few people recognized that talent, and they tried to nurture it. There wasn't so much noise, And then what I would say to like bringing that generation to this time where there's so much, all of these things available, AI, like you said, social media, of course. It's just staying the cause, just knowing why are you here? What are you trying to achieve? What exactly is your goal? Do you just want to be famous? Or do you just want to be you just want to be talked about, or you want to be rich? If you say, okay, I want a career that can outlive me, I can live a legacy that, 10, 20 years down the line, my movie will still be something that people can still watch. My kids can watch my movies that I did 10, 20 years ago. The stories I've told can still be referenced. Then that means you have to bend down and do the work. And it's not just doing the work, it's choosing the quality of work you do, the kinds of projects you want to identify yourself with, the kinds of people that you even want to affiliate with, and just shutting down the noise. If you're able to shut down the noise and keep the focus, it's pretty hard. I don't know how they manage these days, because God knows It's a hell lot of distraction, but I feel if you're able to just keep your head down and stay focused on your goal, on your vision. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is where I'm going to 10 years down the line. Yeah, you can be this person. You can have the fame for 2-3 years. But then I want to be that person that can be famous for 10-20 years. That whether or not I'm acting every day, I'm still relevant. Then what quality of work do I want to do? What kinds of stories do I want to tell? How do I want to be perceived by the audience? What kind of celebrity do I want to be? It's up to you. It's just a function of deciding what is it you really want and staying there. And sometimes the cost of longevity is not so glamorous because it's all about that's not what you get easy. The fame won't come easy. You find people who are so good. They'll be like, oh, she's so good, but she's just not that popular. Yes, you may not be that popular right now, but so look at you. You are one of the most amazing actors of your time. And whether or not you're in films every year or every month or not, you will always remain one of those. When they're looking for quality actors, you're one of those people they will come for. Because you identify with certain projects that highlights your quality, that helps you to showcase your talent in the most beautiful way. So that gives you longevity in the long run. You may not be the most famous person right now, but you will always be that extremely versatile, solid actor when the chips are down. They know who they're looking for and they'll find them. So that's my 2 cents.
That's more than 2 cents. That's a $100 bill right there. Juliet, same question to you. How did you set yourself apart with the years you've had in the industry?
For me, I was coming from another country into another country at a time where I knew nothing about Nigeria. The first time I ever came to film in Nigeria was because a director from Nigeria was filming in Ghana, and I wasn't even a part of the movie set. I just went on the set to meet with this director. I was so intentional and strategic, and I was like, hi. And at the time, I think I had done probably like 2 movies only in Ghana. And I was like, I'm one of the top actresses here. I knew he would not find it anywhere. He has to go and buy the DVD. So I was like, I'm one of the top actresses here, and I really want to work in Nigeria. And he's like, oh, okay. All right, I'll take your number. If anything comes up, I'll let you know. And I was like, okay, cool, thank you. Took a picture with him because he was a star director. And a week later, this guy goes, and I get a text message from him. There was no WhatsApp at the time. And he tells me, oh, there's a role, but it's just one scene in the movie, and we're filming in Asaba. How many people know Asaba here? That's, I think, Delta State, right? And by the time, there's no airport in Asaba, so you have to fly to Benin. And I'm like, hey, okay, so how far is it? It's like, yeah, you fly to Lagos, and then from Lagos to Benin, and then you take a car by road to Asaba. I was like, hey, okay, I will let you know if I can make it. And he said, one scene. I said, but with who? He said, Ikem Uwu. That's Osofia. I'm sure everybody here knows Osofia. I was like, hey? Oh my goodness. Do you know what it means? One scene with Osofia. Ooh! I told my mom, I said, Mommy, the ticket I've checked, it's like 15,000 naira at the time. 15,000 naira for the flight ticket. I was like, I will go, Mommy, please, I need to go for this movie. That man, if I act with him, who knows? So my mom got me my ticket. I flew to Lagos. I followed the instructions of the director, flew again to Benin, got to Benin, met with cab drivers outside when I walked. Please, do you need a car? Do you need a car? Okay, bargained with the driver, went on that very bad road for I think maybe 2 hours. They told me it was a 1-hour drive. It's a lie. It lasted for 3 to something hours maybe. Got to my destination because I was determined. I was intentional. I know I wanted to be famous as a child. I didn't know why I wanted to be famous, but I knew I was born to be a star, that I was supposed to shine so bright. And I got there. I did that one scene with Osofia. Apparently, I was a girl that he picked up and took to a hotel. Ha! I was like, no problem, I will act like it. So I had to speak like a Nigerian girl, pidgin and everything. I did that. And whilst filming that scene, another producer, at the time they were marketers, he came to greet the director on set and saw me, said, who's this girl? New actor? Say, yeah, so one of Ghana's top actor. Okay, we have a lead role for her in Lagos. Can you fly to Lagos? I said, I told the director, please, don't tell him what you paid me for this role. I have to charge now to be able to cover my flight. So that's how I got a lead role in Lagos. And guess with who? The movie is called Yankee Boys. It was starring Ramdi Noah, Tonto Dike, Emeka Ike. I'm talking about the top actors in Nigeria at the time. And I flew there and I played the boss of all of these people. Do you know what it meant for me at the time? So for me, that was my intentionality, and it's so important to be intentional. I had prayed about it. I was going to school. I was in the church choir. I was in the drama group. I was so intentional in investing in what I wanted, and that's how my career just started. But then finding out why I wanted to be famous and be a star took me years to understand that, because I had always had a calling. And that's when 2020 happened and I found out my calling, that I was meant to impact through the platform that I've had today. And that's what I'm doing every single day. So I was strategic. I remember the first time I met you, I was in Asaba. I was not in your movie. I think it was Men Play or something, where you guys were wearing white. And I was just there. I would say hi to everybody. I was so humble. Humility is another thing. And I still am, and I'm proud to say it. That's why I'm even here on this platform today. Because you have to be humble. You have to know what you want. You have to put yourself in the right places. Show up. And then follow up. Because when you connect here today, follow up. That's your next opportunity. So it's so important. All right, thank you.
I love it. You cannot buy good reputation, and it will always come back for you. The one thing that I can say about you two women is that it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter, the greatest impact that you've had is that favor continues to speak for you, and people say and have great experiences with you. Doesn't matter how big you both get, you're still extremely relatable. And I want to thank you for the years that you have poured into this industry. You have made it possible for people like me and younger women to come in and see that you can do this thing in this way and do it right, and you can reap amazing benefits. Once again, congratulations to you for 2 decades in the industry. Guys, please, another round of applause, because it's not easy. It's not. To transition through different seasons of film in Africa, it is not easy. But I know that we have lots of questions in the room, so let's just do a few. Right? Okay. Right up in the front there. You brought out your phone. It looks like you have 20. Please. I just have 20 questions. Okay. Thank you.
So the mic's not working. So I love what was said about licensing. I think it's very important. My name is Salou Sise. I'm an LA-based Sierra Leonean actor who's also working on the site. I love what was also said about intentionality. I think it's very important. So I have. Okay. Thank you. So very quickly, I just have something for all the ladies out here. I was raised by a single mom, so shout out to every single auntie, grandma, all the ladies out here. Here it is. Some say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I say the darker the flesh and the deeper the roots. I give a holler to my sisters on welfare. Tupac cares if don't nobody else care. And I know they like to beat you down a lot. When you come around the block, brothers clown a lot. But please, don't cry. Dry your eye, never let up. Forgive, but don't forget, girl, keep your head up. And when he tells you ain't nothing, don't believe him. And if you can't learn to love you, you should leave him. Because sister, you don't need him. And I ain't trying to gash up. I just call him how I see it. You know what makes me unhappy? When brothers make a baby and leave a young mother to be a pappy. And since we all came from a woman, God came from a woman, and all came from a woman. I wonder why we hate our women, why we rape our women. Do we, our women? I think it's time to kill for our women. Time to heal our women. Be real to our women. And if we don't, we'll have a race of babies that'll hate the babies and rape the ladies. I'm almost there, y'all.
Keep going, keep going.
And since a man can't make one, he has no right to tell a woman when and where to create one. So we'll do Real men get up. I know you fed up, ladies, but keep your head up. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Williams, also a Sierra Leonean-born American actor. Thank you to Chioma for inviting us here. I just wanted to say, first and foremost, ladies, thank you so very much for all the work you've done. 20 years is a long time, and you ladies have pioneered an industry that is male-dominated. The reason why, you know, I'm kind of getting emotional a little bit. I have 2 daughters. And because of the work that you guys have done, they're going to end up standing on your shoulders if they decide to come into this industry. So thank you so very, very much. You made a statement. You said the course of longevity isn't that glorious. And to that end, what challenges has each of you faced? And would you say in 20 years it's gotten better?
I said, thank you so much, my fellow African brothers, right? Welcome. I hope you guys are having a great time in Nigeria. I can imagine. Y'all look like you're having such a blast. So, okay. Yeah, so 20 years down the line, when we talk, the conversation is always about longevity. And I like, when I say it's not glamorous, I mean, it's being able to attend a level of fame that can see you through 20 years and see through so many other amazing talents come and go, and you're still there. It's not something that I take for granted. It's a very humbling experience. And why I say it's not glamorous is because it's not what you do to get, you don't really literally say, I'm going to be so famous for such a long time. I'm going to, you know, it's not glamorous, because you should be spending the time when you make your first hit, you become a star, people, you know, you have opportunity to travel the world. Like in my time, I had a few of my colleagues who at that time, what they were more interested in was like, let's travel. Let's, you know, there's invitation here, there's always places to go. But for me, I wanted to just work more. Perhaps because I came from a more humble background. I wasn't as exposed as most of them were at the time. I felt like this opportunity that I had, I didn't want to lose it, because I didn't believe that this was really happening to me. So it was, first of all, me coming from a very humble background and just seeing that this was possible. I did the first 2 movies that people started to recognize me, and the opportunities started coming. So it was surreal. It was almost unbelievable. Like, I couldn't believe that was happening to me, but it was. And then the pressure of the work started coming. I had the option of just taking the small money I had made, using the fame that had, the fact that everybody wanted to identify with us at the time. There were opportunities, you know, to just go everywhere. I could have just jumped on that bandwagon. But I didn't want to lose what I had found, which was just the relevance in this industry. The fact that my work was seen and appreciated, and people wanted to see more of that. So I just buried myself in work. You will not believe that I did not go out of this country for about 6 years after I was famous. I was living literally in Asaba. I was working back to back to back. I would work every days. I had no life except work, from one set to the other, to the other, to the other. This was consistently done for over 8 to 10 years of my life. By the time I brought my head out of water and started saying, okay, maybe it's time to travel, maybe it's time to start to enjoy some of the dividends of what I had done. I had even gotten way bigger than I didn't even know how big I was, because I was out there working. So when I decided to step out of that place and just experience real life, it was like, oh my God, what, it was now too much. I had become too big, beyond what I even imagined. But then what had happened was I had done so much work. I had been able to do the most powerful films that came out at the time. There was hardly a powerful, successful film that was out in that decade that I wasn't a lead actor on. And that was because I made myself available. I was intentional. I was determined. I didn't take it for granted. My priority was to just work. So by the time I started coming out to enjoy the fame, I had so much work already done. So it would take a while for anybody to just wish me away, because I had gotten into the crannies of the entire continent. All the homes, there's hardly a home in the continent of Africa that didn't know me or didn't have my picture on their wall frame, because I had put in the work. So it's just, I sacrificed my youth, I would say. I sacrificed all the glamorousness I would have had. I buried it into work. And I think that is what that's why today I can say I don't have to work every year. I don't have to work as much to prove any point. I've done as much. I'm still working. And guess what? It's not as if that has deterred me. I'm like, okay, I still wake up every day feeling like, look, I need to do something. There's still so much to do. So I literally, yes, literally. So I am so work motivated. I try to produce the kinds of stories I want to tell. I have a film coming out in the cinema on the 15th of December called A Very Dirty Christmas. That's my film. I executive produce, yeah. So I'm just hungry. I'm just a girl who's hungry for more, I don't want to call it perfection, but I just want to say that I feel like there's so much embedded in me and I have so much to give. And I just want to keep going as much as God gives me the grace and the capacity to keep doing it. Just focus. And that's why I keep talking about, when we talk about the next generation, I said, if you just minimize the noise and minimize the things that you allow yourself to see or experience, it can also help, because it's a lot of distraction and it's hard to stay focused if you just swallow everything that is thrown at you. Decide what you want and just stay focused, and God will give you the grace. Thank you.
Amen to that. Juliet, do you want to give us a quick?
Yeah, I think she actually said most of the same things I would have wanted to say. Is the sacrifices of your youth, and then just growing into that, because that's all you know. I was telling someone 2 days ago that I became so famous very early, and I had to start branding myself on how I wanted to be looked at, and how I didn't want anything negative, how I didn't want to be seen, in a certain light. So I literally could not even party. I couldn't do a whole lot of things as a young girl, and it takes it away from you. And those challenges are still there for every other girl or guy that wants to start. It's difficult for women because the society that we live in, women are always judged. So, that's why we always talk about how difficult it is for the women, because it steals everything from you. You're working extra hours just for what? And some people do it for the rest of their lives and they still don't get that recognition. They're still there. I know people that was acting before me, and I came and I surpassed them. And they're still there, and they're very talented. But sometimes the grace of God, having God in your life, is so important as well, because you have to really check sometimes, is this really mine? Is this my calling? Am I supposed to be here? Some people are not supposed to be on the scene or on the screen. They're supposed to be behind the screen. So a lot of inner digging has to be done, where you check, is this really my calling? Pray about it. Yes, you might see it looks so glamorous for us, but can you really handle the glam when you get there? Some people cannot. And that's when you find the whole waywardness, and then they're shouting, they're fighting, they're cussing out. When there's something small, they'll put a ring light and they're shouting about it. No, you have to be intentional, like we said, and the challenges will always be there, because you have to sacrifice as an upcoming actor here. That movie I told you about, I came to film in Asaba. I wasn't paid anything. I sacrificed myself for something greater. I saw what I wanted to become. So you have to do a little, couple of free stuff to put yourself in a strategic position where you're now called upon to get paid properly, So yeah, you have to always sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we're out of time now. But how was this discussion for you guys? Yeah, A1? I love it. Once again, please celebrate these amazing women, Iniedo and Juliet Ibrahim.
And please celebrate her as well. She's also one of the greatest who've done it. one of the greatest in her time. I'm a fan, actually, so
Please.
let's celebrate her as well.
Thank
So-
you, guys.
Did so well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shall we quickly do pictures?
Thank you so much to our wonderful panelists and moderator. I gained so much insights. Picture, okay. So just take a minute for pictures. Please don't go anywhere. The next panel is going to start right now. Before then, just a few announcements.